Welcome to the Wellness Hub podcast, a show dedicated to uncovering the future of healthy living. Each week, we aim to bring you content that supports your personal health journey through insightful conversations with amazing guests. We explore various topics ranging from healthy eating, technology, fitness, mindfulness, and more. Now let's join our host, Drew Munro, co-founder and CEO of Up Meals, a Vancouver-based food tech startup on a mission to make healthy meals accessible through technology.
Hello and welcome to the Wellness Hub. As always, we're thrilled to have you with us for yet another edition of Wellness Wednesday. Every single week, we're hosting amazing guests discussing important topics ranging from entrepreneurship and technology to health, wellness, fitness, and mindfulness. And as always, we hope that you find these conversations valuable and insightful on your own wellness journey. Our special guest tonight is a lifelong entrepreneur, one of the hardest working founders in the industry, and a true leader in the push for a plant-based lifestyle. I'm so excited for you to meet our guest tonight and hear his story, which will take us from a humble beginning as a teenage entrepreneur to the founder and the leader of one of the most active and growing plant-based communities. Tonight, we'll be talking about what it takes to persist and succeed in entrepreneurship, how plant-based products are transforming the future of food, and how to be a leader in an ever-changing industry and world. Our guest tonight is the founder of PlantX, the digital face of the plant-based community. PlantX's e-commerce platform is the one-stop shop for everything plant-based. They've also used their digital platform to build a community of like-minded consumers and provide education for those interested in learning more about a plant-based lifestyle. They are true revolutionaries, creating a rich and growing community of plant-based converts that are ushering in the future of food. We're excited for our guest to shed his light on how his relentless work ethic and passion for entrepreneurship has helped him grow multiple successful businesses, the power of a plant-based lifestyle, and why you should consider making the switch, what the future of global food industry will look like, and much, much more. And as we discuss these really important topics, a reminder, as always, please comment with your questions on Facebook, on YouTube, on Instagram, or wherever you're watching. We'll be answering audience questions all throughout the show. So without further ado, please welcome our special guest tonight, the founder of PlantX, Sean Dollinger. Sean, welcome to the Wellness Hub.
Hey, Drew. How are you, man? Great seeing you. Thanks for having us on.
My pleasure, Sean. I want to start by asking you, and going way back, I want to ask you about your teenage years and your first brush with entrepreneurship. Now, if I'm not mistaken, I think one of your first ventures, you started a delivery business around the age of 17. So tell us a little bit more about that experience.
Yeah, so even before that, Drew, I always loved going to restaurants, taking my friends out, making money. Learned so much from my grandfather, those great times of going around a dinner table and at this Chinese restaurant called Papillon de Szechuan, which I just loved in Montreal. I would go, and it started by cleaning the dishes. At 15 years old, I was cleaning, and I got this paycheck every week, and it just was amazing. And then I still remember one lunch hour, I'm cleaning the dishes. He gets busy. My buddy Sam, who owned the restaurant, he's like, "Sean, do you know how to drive?" And I look at him, I'm like, I kind of know how to drive, but, I don't have a driver's license.
Not legally, I don't. Yeah.
He throws me the keys. He's like, "Sean, I need you to go do this delivery." And I still remember doing that first delivery, getting a tip. So besides getting my hourly, I get a tip. And that's what it took to get hooked, So I did that. I sold vacuums. I sold everything you could imagine. And then, I started a company called Easy Touch, purchased a company called Local 514 in Montreal. And then we were doing what Uber Eats does today, which is pick up and deliver from restaurants that don't have delivery.
Wow. And so, you got your first little taste at a very young age, and now you kind of took a different turn. So you're around 18 years old. You're actually offered a baseball scholarship in New York. So tell me about that transition, what it was like being a college athlete and also managing all of this work at the same time.
So one of the few people out of Montreal to get a baseball scholarship. Still remember keeping the business card. I went to a baseball school during the summers and kept this coach number who gave it to me. And I get this opportunity to go down to Long Island, play NJCAA Division I ball, go to the College World Series. But I had to keep my grades up. My parents didn't have much money, so I went there with pretty much no money in my pocket. They said I had to get a job. I worked at a country club doing weddings. I remember starting on Fridays from about 6 p.m. going till 2 a.m, then baseball, then back, and then it was just insane. And it just taught me so much for the future, where I was working 40 hours a week, playing ball 40 hours a week, going to school like 20 hours, learning how to live off no sleep, hard work, just loving life. And it gave me the foundation. I always believe you got to create this incredible foundation to succeed in life.
So that kind of leads me to what I was curious about next. You sort of now you've gotten this base of what it takes and this grind to be a successful entrepreneur. So that's always something that's always struck me about you, Sean. You've got this obviously very infectious entrepreneurial spirit, but you've just got this relentless work ethic, which I love about you. So tell me, what do you think is the source of that? Like what keeps that fire alive to just keep going the way that you do?
I grew up in a really unique household. My father, who just passed away recently, and I respected him so much, and he was one of my best friends in the world. And then my grandfather, who was literally somebody who I looked up to from a work ethic. And my father was an incredible father, but when it came to the work side of things, he didn't have that drive my grandfather did. Which then reflected in the house I grew up in. We'd run out of heat during the winter months, and I'd be freezing, and people would be like, oh, they can't shut off electricity. You're right, they can't. But when your furnace runs on oil, the oil companies don't need to show up if you don't pay their bill. And I still remember sleeping with the sheets over my head, and living in a house where sometimes I was a big kid. And that leads me a bit to my plant-based journey, where I was actually starving, I was so hungry. And I said to myself, man, I want what my grandfather's got. I want that drive. And it's amazing to get the taste of the two lives. And that's what keeps me driven, because, you never know what'll happen next, and you got to keep going out there.
Absolutely. So there's a hunger, kind of a literal and figurative hunger that you've experienced, right? That keeps that going. It's an amazing story. And that sort of does lead into, what I'm curious about next for our listeners. So I want to talk about your current project, this beautiful background you have behind you here with PlantX. So tell me, where did the idea for PlantX come from? Was it something you had always thought of, or were you struck by, some kind of inspiration?
Drew, my whole life I've been working, and I wanted to make money for everyone else. And it might sound crazy, but I just loved, in my last company that I started, it went from 6 million to over $1 billion in a year and a half. And we'd have events, and there'd be people lining up to take photos and meet me and speak to me. And, it was an amazing feeling to make people money. But when I left that company in February of 2019, I was 39 years old or somewhere around there. And I said to myself, okay, this was great. Made people a lot of money, but did I change the world at all? Did I make any impact on the world? And the answer was no. And myself, for the last 10 years, I've been living this plant-based journey. I've lost 60 pounds, and I never weighed 300 pounds. Yeah, so
we should have queued up a before and after photo. We don't have that B-roll, but I should have texted you for that. Yeah. Wow, it's amazing.
Yeah, so I lost 30% of my body weight. And I can't tell you, 10 years ago, I would go to the parking lot of emergency rooms because I thought I was dying. I thought I was having allergic reactions. I thought my mind was poison. And then I lived this whole plant-based journey over the last 10 years, and kind of like what your show's all about fitness and well-being. And I think that you're brilliant on what you're doing. I said to myself, wow, can I take this 20 years of e-commerce experience, build a platform on education, and even if I could change a few people's lives with what I've went through in my life, I'm like, that would be the most rewarding thing that I could do, because anybody could donate, anybody could start a charity, but then you're only touching specific people. But what we're developing at PlantX is a platform to educate any person in this world on how to live a longer, healthier, better quality of life.
And I want to sort of give you an opportunity. I mean, this is such a huge platform you're building at PlantX, and it's just such amazing work. There's still people out there that might say that I think plant-based or veganism could be a fad or a novelty or a trend. And I want to give you sort of a chance to address that and say, why does PlantX think that plant-based diets are here to stay? How are they changing the future of how we eat?
Listen, I don't know if it's a trend or whatever you want to call it, and at the end of the day, to improve your life, and if you want to have this incredible life on our planet, I believe that it's a lifestyle change at the end of the day. And the beauty about PlantX is, and back to my journey, when I told people I was on this plant-based journey, everybody would be like, you don't eat fish, you don't eat chicken. Like, that was everybody's immediate reaction. And why does it matter to them? Who cares? Who cares at the end of the day if I had fish a week ago? I'm not allergic to it. I'm not deathly allergic to it. And if my body's telling me that's what it wants, why not go for it? And that kind of might be a long-winded answer to your question. But at the end of the day, at PlantX, we're not judging. We just want everybody to see this lifestyle change, because for us, plant-based living isn't just about the food you put in your body. It's the way you carry yourself through life. I think you mentioned before we jumped on today that you had been out to Squamish. When you come out to our location in Squamish, it's energy that people have never felt before. They immediately come here and get a smile on their face because of what's been created by Corey and Steve, the founders, when I originally came here, and what I felt. And that is really, to me, whether you want to call it plant-based living or give it its own title, that's really what PlantX stands for.
And don't you agree? You made a really great point about the question about what do you eat and what don't you eat. Like, don't you think the better question there is how do you feel, right? How what's your quality of life, right? Like, I find those are the conversations. People are focused on like the specifics, the minutia of like, did I eat fish last week, as you mentioned? But how do you feel? What's your quality of life? What's your energy level like? Like, these are the things that I think are more important to talk about. Would you agree with that?
Absolutely. And I believe a lot of us have been brainwashed growing up on, you need this amount of proteins, you need this amount of calories, and all of this. I was in the gym today for an hour. My instructor turns to me and says, Sean, you're my only vegan client or plant-based client. Meanwhile, you do 1.5 to 2 times the workout anyone else does. And guess what? And Drew, being in Vancouver, immediately, and it's hot here today, I go right away to meet my buddy Robbie, and we hit the grind and we do it in 53 minutes. You know what I mean? And I'm on no steroids. I'm not on any type of artificial, supplements or anything like that. I believe if you believe what you put in your body is great for you and you feel amazing, that's the important thing, like you said. So I 100% agree with that statement. Reflect on what you put in your body. Spend some time thinking about the way you feel after you put it in your body. And maybe that's what's great for you.
I want to talk about some of the really innovative products that you guys sell at PlantX, and not just in the beautiful retail store that you're in now, but also in the commerce spot. You guys are selling, really interesting things, live plants that can get, shipped to your door. And of course, fresh, ready to eat meals and subscriptions. So, how do you make your customers feel confident in what they're buying? These are kind of unique products to buy online. How does PlantX achieve that?
So it's great that you bring that up, Drew. And I was just speaking to the team. We're here meeting today. And I said, people are going to start coming to our platform and they're just going to buy a few items. And then when those items show up when they're supposed to, packaged the way they're supposed to, and taste incredible, they're going to say, wow, maybe I'm onto something. Let me go check out one of their other 10,000 products. And I think the basket sizes are going to keep getting bigger. The plants will show up on their doorstep. They're going to love seeing those plants, maybe not with our 44 days of sun in a row here where people want to be outside, but give it in a couple months from now when it's gray outside and some green plants are sprucing up their home across Canada. They're going to be like, wow, hey, let me go back to PlantX, check out the plant-based cosmetics they have. Hey, do they have items for my pets? And then we create, and let's not forget the most important thing, plant-based meals made by Up Meals, which are absolutely out of this world. We have the fridge filled here with them that I absolutely love. And you're hooked. You're into this whole plant-based lifestyle.
Well, thank you, Sean. I appreciate that. You know, I'm the biggest fan of our partnership, and excited for what's to come, and excited for what you guys are doing. I want to sort of, what I love to talk about and hear from entrepreneurs like yourself is from concept to where it is now, and the journey and the zigzag. So, how did PlantX change from the initial concept to where it is now?
Yeah. So, Drew, honestly, the partnerships meant so much. And before I answer your question, yesterday I was heartbroken because I had technology problems not joining your show. So honestly, some people don't care in life, and it actually ruined my sleep last night, what I did. So, apologies to you, your team, and everything, because you are an extremely hard worker as well. I have live podcasts and I know what it is. So, sincerely.
You're here now, buddy. That's all that matters. I appreciate your time as always. It's all good. Tech issues we've all experienced them. It's all good, and I'm happy we're getting the chance to connect here and have this conversation.
Yeah, no, and thanks for that, and thanks for understanding. And then back to your question, I think it's a couple tier question. So I get asked that question a lot by entrepreneurs when they're starting off. And, it's exciting. You get your office, you get business cards, you get your first few calls. You're so motivated. You're ready to rock and roll. And then, all of a sudden you start plateauing in that first month or 2 or 3. And it's hard to push through. And you got to remember to yourself, the reason why you started the business was because you believed in it. And it's, for example, when we go back to the delivery company that I had before smartphones existed, if I had stuck with it, it would have actually been $1 billion idea. But at the time, I'm like, let's move on to the next. Let's move on to the next. And in PlantX, obviously, it never goes as you planned. Originally, we thought New Delhi would be a great name. But then, hold on. Confusing. Why is our place a delicatessen, but there's no deli counter? Why all of a sudden are people being directed to the PlantX website? Why are they using an app with PlantX? You got to listen to your customers, and you got to be agile. In 2021, just because your business plan said A, B, C, D, it's okay to listen to your heart, listen to your mind. You're the one who took the chance to go into business, and you got to believe in yourself.
Absolutely. And you touched on something that I feel is important. You referenced this kind of fun. It's almost like the honeymoon phase in a relationship where everything is awesome, right? You're getting offices, you're getting business cards, you're designing a logo, you're getting the brand out there. And then you're like, oh, wait, this is really hard. And oh, wait, I'm having real challenges, right? So, how do you deal with what entrepreneurs call imposter syndrome? This is, you get to a point, you've grown a big business and you're like, I don't know how to do this. I don't know how to be a CEO. I don't know how to do. How do you mentally deal with that? Or what advice would you give to somebody on dealing with that?
Oh man, I still remember back in the day when I just didn't have the wisdom. And you need to have the confidence in yourself. You need to come out swinging. I know some people are very big into planning, and I'll give you an example. We're working on this app. We're working on this new website, and Alex Hoffman, who co-founded PlantX, and she believed in kind of the concept and the story. I said, if the website comes out and it's working 100%, we've screwed up. We've taken too long to launch the new website because nothing should be perfect day one. You should launch, listen, spend time, and fix. So you got to remember, when you're starting out, nothing is going to go as planned, but keep going.
Yeah, move fast and break things, right? You got to go and you got to push. And I think you touched on something super important, which is, your customers might be more correct about your vision than you initially were, right? As they start to use your service. And, so now kind of touching about the customers, and you always use this phrase of community. You're creating a digital community. So talk to me a little bit about the response now. You're a little ways in, you've built this growing community. How are people responding to this? And what's that feedback like for you as the founder?
I've always found in e-com, if you create communities around like-minded individuals, you'll beat out Amazon. Because at the end of the day, you call up Amazon, they can't tell you what products exactly are plant-based. They're just reading off of a website. Well, if you call Kelly in our customer service department, you'll feel her come through the phone. That's the energy you're getting on the other side of somebody who was part of education at companies like Lululemon, at Vega, and companies like that. Those are the type of people powering PlantX. And I'm a big believer in the equation of 1 + 1 = 11, not 2. And you really start feeling that with the synergies. Even Matthew Kenny, who you guys have had the opportunity to work with on the culinary front, he's the godfather to plant-based living. This guy, this talented individual has been doing it for 20 years, you know, and the knowledge that he brings in, all of a sudden, he's bringing the knowledge into this rapid exponential growth of these new individuals in plant-based. And that's what constantly accelerates everybody.
And I want to ask you something about, we touched on acceleration and all of this incredible growth in this community. So I want to ask you something about, we're still in it, but we're starting to see the light of COVID-19. And how did that affect PlantX? And I guess, did you see an uptick in customers being more mindful about their health and adopting a plant-based lifestyle from your perspective due to the onset of COVID-19?
So Drew, this is going to blow your mind. And I don't know if you realize this, but PlantX was born during a pandemic. PlantX was born in April of 2020. It raised $35 million, absolutely no debt. In a year grew from a $0 million run rate to over a $20 million run rate. So for me to tell you what people thought pre-COVID, I can't really answer that question from a PlantX side. From a Sean Dollinger standpoint, absolutely. I think people definitely want to take better care of themselves since the pandemic hit. I think people are much more in tune with what they put in their body. We're going to be launching a whole wellness fitness side to the PlantX platform. For me, when people say, what's your take on fitness? I don't really care what you do each day, but sweating to me is the most important thing. Just for 20 minutes, get your blood. I find it's like a refresh. It's a detox. It's resetting your body to absorb the next thing.
Amazing. Yeah. And amazing advice. I'm the same way. It's not a matter of what you do or how much you do. It's just doing it. It's just getting up, getting the gym clothes on and getting in there and doing something that has, in my opinion, almost more than the physical, just a mental strength that you get from knowing that you did that. And that's really important to touch on. I'm going to ask you a very open-ended question for a guy like you, Sean, with so many ideas. What does the future hold for PlantX?
What I've loved about PlantX more than any other business that I've been in, first, the plant-based industry, I think, is one of the best industries currently because it just has so much to offer. But what I love about PlantX, what I love about the board of PlantX and the management team is my job is just to give suggestions. My job is to give my vision for the company, but they're there to execute on it. And I thank them all from the bottom of my heart that they believed in me day one and they listened to my crazy ideas on a daily basis. And that's what I believe will get us to the next level. But in the first year, we've made, I believe, over 3 acquisitions and all these different things. So here you've got my mind that goes in all these different ways, but then we could bring it all together in this one powerful vehicle. Just like when people said, well, why are you doing this private label? Why are you buying this juice company called Little West? Why are you buying this grocery store in the middle of Venice Beach? And what's up with this location in the middle of Squamish? They believed in it. 12 months later, look what we've been able to accomplish in just 1 year. I can't think of too many companies in this world that have been able to achieve what we have in just 1 year. So
super impressive, Sean. And again, a lot with the ambassadors and all the momentum, I think the future is bright. And I know a lot of our listeners are excited, myself included, to see where you and the team take this great venture. And I want to ask something. Part of what we love to do on this show is talk to experienced people like yourself and give young entrepreneurs advice. So I want to ask you a question. What is the most valuable lesson you've learned about life, about business, or anything in between in your time as an entrepreneur?
So we touched on it a little bit. You got to believe in yourself. You got to believe in the idea you set out. Remember why you took that risk to start off with. But for me, some days I work 20 hours, right? Like I'm not going to get out of Squamish till probably 7 tonight, pull in around, 8, 8:30, and then jump back on the computer. And for me, you can't talk about it as work. And we speak about this a lot in our culture and our company. I say, if it's a beautiful day in Squamish and you want to go hit the chief, who am I to tell you not to go out and do that hike when we're preaching this lifestyle? So if I'm going to speak so much about lifestyle, but then start throwing in the word work, and work represents more than a third of your life, how does that all start making sense? So I think for anybody going out there, don't look at anything as work. If you're looking at it as work, you're not doing something you love. It's part of your lifestyle at the end of the day, and you should be doing it because it's something that you love to do.
It has to integrate, right? I mean, the work-life balance, it's kind of overrated. There should be an integration there between what you do to earn money and fulfill yourself, but it should integrate with the things that you're passionate about in your life. And it's very clear talking to you, Sean, that you've achieved that. And I hope from your messages that a lot of other entrepreneurs listening to this now can achieve that themselves. I'm going to ask a couple more questions, and then we're going to take some audience questions that I see coming in right now on the show. For you personally, Sean, if someone who works a crazy amount, what is your favorite form of self-care? How do you prioritize time for you to unwind?
Great question. So when I go to the gym, it's the only time, and it's probably happened when we've tried to be in touch. It's the only time I actually take my phone, put it to the side, and I like to be bossed around for about an hour and not need to make my own decisions, which is fun sometimes. So when I put that into the grand scale of things, take some time to yourself because it'll clear your mind to allow you to do that much more. And like we spoke a little bit earlier, that sweat, whether it's going for a walk, whether it's going for a hike, just take that. And it doesn't need to be an hour. I love when people say, I don't have time. Believe me, if I have time to do it, everybody's got time to do it.
I love it. We've got a couple questions coming in from Instagram here, so I'm gonna put you on the spot with some quick fire questions here. What is the best plant-based meal you've ever had? The question from Instagram.
Wow, that's a really, really tough question because so many places are making great plant-based products now. For example, Drew, the meals we serve through you guys, so many people absolutely love them. I love pretty much all of them. The harissa carrots I just had, and so those are really unique. Amy's makes a terrific breakfast burrito. Sometimes when you're in the run in the morning, it's gluten-free. And then even places like Functional Pie. I don't know if you've ever had them out in Function Junction in Whistler. They make this unbelievable gluten-free vegan cheese pizza. So honestly, I'm so open-minded with amazing food. Just give it a try. Go into a great restaurant. They'll probably have plant-based food.
Awesome. And I've got another question coming in here from YouTube. I am thinking of going plant-based. Where should I start? What resources should I start out with?
Well, that's what I love about PlantX. So if they're in the US, let them check out plantx.com. If they're in Canada, plantx.ca. And anything you buy is plant-based. So it's a great way to start because just go browse. Anything that catches your attention, add to your cart, give it a try. You've really got absolutely nothing to lose. And then Drew, we've now in Canada added 2 days of meal delivery from you. So everybody could have fresh meals for a very reasonable price. I think it's $12.95. And honestly, props to anybody who could finish one of your meals. They're huge. I normally have it over 2 meals. So you're looking at like $6, $7 a meal, and you're having this unbelievable product.
Amazing. Yeah. And that I agree. The answer to that question is you've created the resource for people to get started on their plant-based journey. And kudos to that. Thank you for that question there from YouTube. We've got another one here coming in from Instagram. Your top 3 plant-based restaurants in Vancouver or Vancouver area. Putting you on the spot with all the food questions, Sean.
No, I love it. So North Vancouver, hands down, best lunch soup is Workshop Cafe. Their spicy tan soup is out of this world. It's fantastic. And then Heirloom has amazing mushroom toast if you're ever in the mood for that. Fantastic sourdough. I go to Kokomo pretty much every day after the gym for a power malt smoothie. It's incredible. And then over in the city, you've got Ann and Chi. They're not a vegan restaurant, but on Main Street, their vegan pho is fantastic. Granville Island has an amazing vegan Vietnamese place as well. And then there's an amazing sushi place that opened up in Chinatown called Mira. And they sometimes have an hour, 2 hour wait, but their food is dynamite. And Miku has a fantastic vegan platter as well. So I know that's more than top three, but I am
you over-delivered on that answer, Sean, for sure. Our listeners are absolutely loving it. I want to ask, again, I think a lot of our listeners are very curious now about you and about PlantX. So let us know, where can we go to learn more about you, about PlantX, and all the projects you're involved in?
So PlantX is fully up to date. So if you go to plantx.com or plantx.ca, and Athar, our technology wizard, has done an amazing job with Kumar and the team. But if you scroll all the way down to the bottom of it, you'll see an investor section. You click on that investor section, you could read all about myself, the management team, the board, everything about PlantX. And it's just such a great resource for the investor side of things. And then also looking for unbelievable products. And our plants are now shipping out of Squamish, BC. Kay, who's the plant whisperer, she's actually on TikTok. She has a great TikTok channel, and it's PlantXK and KAY. And the plants are flying out the door. They're so healthy, and it's just such a great time.
It's incredible that you've created this platform. And I see another quick question coming, because I think it's important based on what you said. What areas do you service? If somebody lives, what areas can somebody access PlantX and get shipped products?
So Drew, I remember starting with you a year ago. We shipped these meals out to Montreal. They exploded all over. It
was awful. It was awful.
It was a disaster.
But we stuck with it, didn't we? Yeah.
We stuck with it. You worked extremely hard. And I still remember about 6 months ago, I guess now, you shipped one and somebody did an unboxing video. And I'm like, where did this box come from? Where did this freezer pack? Where did this environmentally friendly packaging come from? And then I'm in your office, like literally the next day, and it's sitting there, and I was blown away. So, that's allowed meals to get across Canada. We now ship grocery North America. We're opening up in Europe, the UK. We'll be opening up there mid-October. We're opening 5 distribution centers in North America to be able to offer pretty much same day, next day delivery to every single geographical zone in North America by the end of 2021.
Wow. Amazing. I hope that answers that audience member's question. I think it certainly does. Well, Sean, hey, I really, really appreciate your time, all the great information that you've given to our audience about yourself, sharing the personal stories that you shared, and about this amazing, amazing platform. I hope you'll join us back on the show again soon and give us another exciting update. Really appreciate your time.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me on, Drew, and love to leave your guests and listeners with stay curious, stay planted, stay healthy. Cheers.
Thank you, Sean. Fantastic. I love talking to Sean. As you can see, he has such an infectious energy. It's so evident considering all he's been able to accomplish in his career. And having personally seen PlantX grow into the blossoming plant-based hub that it is today, I'm just amazed by Sean's leadership to bring to life an idea that seems at once very familiar and intuitive and completely fresh and exciting at the same time. I mean, hearing Sean's story and understanding the incredible work ethic he seemed to possess from a young age, it only makes sense that he's at the forefront of this plant-based movement that continues to flourish. That sense of belief in your idea and the faith required to make a concept into reality cannot be understated. I think the takeaway from that we can all apply to our lives is that the power of belief in your own abilities, your vision, your goals, and your dreams is tantamount to making them a reality. I think we often fall into this trap of convincing ourselves the millions of ways that our loftiest dreams can go wrong and to fail. Now imagine if you concentrated that same energy into self-belief. And I know some of you may be thinking, that amount of self-belief might make me seem arrogant or delusional, but I don't think it will. I think what drives truly great leaders like Sean is an innate self-belief that has been developed over time, developed not through long-winded pep talks and positive reinforcement, but through having tried and failed over and over and over again. And I think that the most impressive, high-achieving people in society, often they're the ones that have failed the most. So the lesson here is that failure should not be feared. Rather, each failure should be viewed as a stepping stone to success. Self-belief really isn't about knowing you're going to succeed. It's about knowing you'll be all right if you don't. And it's about knowing that even in failure, you are going to have something to learn. We always love to leave you with a question here to ponder on the Wellness Hub. So the question that I'll leave you with today is, when did you last fail? And what did you learn from it? I think we'd all benefit from being a lot more comfortable with failure. So much so that we stop fearing it altogether. And the only way left to go is up. Thank you for tuning in tonight. If you'd like to see more great conversations like this, please remember to like, comment, and subscribe and follow us on YouTube, Instagram, and LinkedIn at Upmeals. We'll see you next Wednesday evening right here on the Wellness Hub for another great conversation. I'm Drew Munro. Until then, take care and be